Hi, we're Ana Lu, Ana Lucia Rodriguez, Romina Garrido, Jerónimo Sanchez, and Andrea Buchbo. And we decided to do questions 1 and 5.
Question number one is one of the primary disadvantages of the autistic is they can't project or intuit what other people might be feeling or thinking, as illustrated in the scene where Christopher had to guess what his mother might think would be in the Smarties tube. When does this deficit become the most clear in the novel? Does Christopher seem to suffer from his mental and emotional isolation, or does he seem to enjoy it?
Well, I think in a moment when he's like lack of empathy shows the most, when he can't complete his A math because late from other his mother and her. And like I understand that really bothers Christopher, but I think he has to understand better that he can't understand better that family is going through a very hard time. Like his mother is seeing his child after a lot of time, like ex-husband. She's having. So I think that's where he lacks a lot of empathy.
Yes, so I think that like also Christopher sees like his condition like also like somewhat as an advantage because he's like much smarter than a lot of us, and he like sees like very little details that like a person without Asperger or like in the autism spectrum wouldn't like be able to see. So he focuses on those like little things, and he's like very smart, so he also like takes a little bit of advantage with his condition. But sometimes like he can be like also like very like he might suffer from it because like for example like he doesn't like new places, and he like doesn't like people touching him. He also doesn't uh like a lot of noise and like loud noises. So I think like there's like in between spot, like something that like there is an advantage that makes him like smarter, and there's like also a disadvantage that like it's the like new spaces and like loud noises, etc.
Yeah, like Romina said, I think there's like an in between. Like he does recognize that he has like a special ability, but then again, he doesn't. He's not aware that he's an autistic person, but he does take advantage of it by being uh, smart or noticing the little details most people would think are not important. And but yeah, he does suffer from it by not being able to recognize other people's emotions or what they're feeling, or like he's also kind of self-centered. He thinks that everybody is also like him, similar to him, and doesn't take into account other people.
I think that Christopher definitely suffers more from his mental disorder, but he just doesn't realize it because the time where the disorder shines most for me is the train station, because all right there in that one place, it's all of the things that he doesn't like. There's policemen, there's people touching him, there's very loud noises, and there's people wanting to talk to him. So right there, he kind of crashes out and goes kind of insane. So I think that's a very good moment that shows that Christopher definitely suffers from his mental disorder, and he can't like survive much time in a new place that has many that is crowded and has many loud noises, like just like a train station.
Well, I don't think Christopher like doesn't know. Like I think he doesn't think everyone's like his because he dedicates some chapters saying like people believing in God it's stupid. People having pictures in their head it's so I think like he understands like his brain is somehow different, but when he's in a situation when that put up front, like he's kind of forgets.
Yes.
Question, how much empathy does the reader come? How much understanding does he have of emotions? What is the effect, for instance, of the scenes in which Christopher's act to make sure he can take his A levels? Do these scenes show how little his mother understands Christopher's deepest needs?
So, well, I think it's like for the reader might be like somewhat hard to be to feel empathy towards Christopher because like he is very direct and he has like no filter. So like sometimes like that might like that stresses me out sometimes, and I know that like his mind works completely different from mine, but like I feel like sometimes even like uncomfortable with some of the things that he does because like I'm like no, I would have done that like differently. So like it's like very difficult for me to feel empathy, but at the same time I know that it's like very like complicated, like how his mind works, and I don't think that like his mom understands very well how does his mind works, because like I know she loves him and like because it's her son, but she might not feel like as much as empathy because she might also like be sometimes like even embarrassed about something that Christopher does, you know. So I think like it is like also like very difficult for the reader to be like to feel empathy towards Christopher because of that.
I think at first, yes, it's like nearly new, but after like the book, like I think the author gives you tools to be to feel empathy for him. Like he gives you like chapters specialized to how his mind, so you can understand him better. And I think the reason why it's sometimes hard to feel empathy for him, it's because he doesn't have a filter. Sometimes he does or thinks stuff we all want to be like when you don't want people touching you, like you want them to like tell them to move, stop touching you, and he doesn't say that, but he goes like the punches, barking. So I think he's not like that different from us, but he just expresses it more.
Yeah, like Ana Lucia and Romina just said, it's kind of hard to feel empathy for Christopher because um, compared to like a normal person, um, our minds work completely differently, and it's hard to understand him, and that he has no filter, and he does like childish things, and that give us an embarrassment, like throwing a tantrum in the middle of a street, or maybe wetting yourself, or screaming in the middle of nowhere, or groaning, and that would give like normal people like us secondhand embarrassment. And also I think that he has like a little knowledge of his own emotions. He knows when he's like angry, happy, sad, confused, shocked, but it's like the very basic things, not uh, deeper things, like he he knows when he found out about his mother still being alive. he knew he was like shocked. He knew he was going to be sick, but not like profoundly, just the basic.
I think that as a reader, it is very difficult to be empathic to our Christopher, but only sometimes. Because, for example, in the train station, when he goes kind of insane, the reader gets that he's stressed, that he doesn't like being there, and he doesn't want to be there. So in that moment, I felt empathetic for him, and I I didn't like what he was going through. But in other moments, when he feels stressed, he just starts to talk about some kind of random things like stars or prime numbers or kind of things like that. So you kind of forget that he's stressed and why he's doing this, and you just kind of go deeper into what he's saying, and you forget that he's stressed. And also, Christopher really knows his emotions and what he needs, because like in the very difficult situations, like in the train station or in the train itself, he passed through some very rough times, and he knows what to do. He in the little station, he just sits there and waits, like he knows what to do. But he assumes that other people also know what his needs are, but other people don't know what his needs are, because his needs are different from the rest of the people, including his mom. And although his mom definitely understands him much better than his dad, she still doesn't understand him at the fullest, and she doesn't know what his needs are. And that's why Christopher sometimes kind of makes her angry over things he can control, because his mother is very short-tempered, and that only shows that the mother really knows much less that she wants to know or that she thinks she knows.
Well, me personally, I feel a lot of empathy towards Christopher's mother because the situation she's going really hard. Like it's not easy to have a child with Asperger's, so that's one of the reasons she chose to leave. And I don't think that's the best decision, like just to disappear.
Yes.
Get it? And or I can get how she can feel stressed when Christopher like comes out of nowhere. Like she was really happy with her the upside down. Also feel very empathic. I think she does the best she can. Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Mireille.